Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about my new Overland rig, the 2021 Ram Rebel. I'm going to talk about why I picked up this truck as my next Overland rig instead of the Toyota Tundra. I'm also going to talk about how it compares to the Toyota Tundra based on my experiences so far with this rig and my experience with the Toyota Tundra, as well as some pros that I've noticed, some cons, some things that I do have my concerns about on this rig, as well as my future plans in building out this rig for my personal preference as an Overland rig. So if you saw my last video in regards to the accident and what happened to the Toyota Tundra and the little teaser for what this next truck is, you may have already guessed, and for those of you who are savvy with trucks, what it is that I got. Also, if you do follow me on Instagram, you did get a sneak peek and actually a news ahead of time about the rig I got, as well as some of the modifications I made already on this truck. When I found out Shadow 1.0, my old Tundra, was totaled, I did look in the market for another Toyota Tundra. I actually looked for another Platinum Limited and as well as the TRD Pro. Now, and as you may already know, if you're not already aware, right now the Tundra truck market, well, truck market in general is hot as a seller. Everything is actually being marked up, and the vehicles are actually becoming appreciative in value now, as opposed to depreciating value. Many of the Toyota Tundras were either marked up or the ones I were looking for were already sold out and not available. So because of that, I was just curious and looked at other trucks in the market. I will admit that no, there is no perfect truck. And I think that it's more important to realize that you're getting a truck that fits your lifestyle and your needs more than you're thinking about just getting a truck solely for the reliability aspect. Although it is a huge advantage, you also got to take into consideration that depending on what you do, for example, for what I do, which is going to be a lot of overlanding, and we're going to have long road trips in the vehicle, interior comfort, the safety, along with reliability were all important things. But with that also said, I did notice during my research that the Ram 1500 platform did have a lot of accolades in the recent years. So Motor Trend gave the 1500 platform the Truck of the Year for 3 years running, including 2021, and it was 3 years consecutively. Also, Consumer Reports gave this truck the #1 Truck of the Year for 2021. That was a surprise to me because the Tundra came in second. And of course, they take into consideration all factors, not just reliability. I'm sure if it was just based on reliability, Tundra might be #1. But there are a lot of things that I've noticed, a lot of amenities in the truck, which I can see why it gave it a #1 rating. But you also got to take into consideration that Consumer Reports does take into factor the reliability aspect of a vehicle. Another thing is that I plan now, because of my baby, and you know, my baby Chloe, she's 7 months old now and she's going to be 8 months. I want to make sure that she is in the safest vehicle I can possibly be in. And I think that is the sentiment with all parents out there. Now on my Tundra, I did have the limited package which did have the leather seating, and after Katie and I have sat in this truck for a while, both of them comparing, we would say that on the Ram it feels a little more softer, and the bolstered seats here, it feels like it's a little more snug around my back here. So when I do make some certain turns, I do still get body roll. Of course, it is a truck after all, but you do feel more held firmly in place. And another thing that is basically starting to become a trend that you'll see in the new F-150 Lightning electric vehicles, of course you see it in Teslas, is this huge 12-inch screen that is in this Rebel, but that is with the level 2 package with the Rebel 12-inch option added. Now, with that added, you get this huge display, which I'm liking a lot. It's awesome. The map is huge. It gives good visibility as far as, you know, navigation. If Katie wants to see where we're going, she can just take a look right into it, and I can as well. Now, while this huge screen is a great standout feature of the Ram Rebel, another feature that Katie absolutely adores, and I also like, happens to be this. What's up?
Nice rig, brother.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
how's it going?
Doing really good. Just got done with the pistol class up there. The gatekeeper at the end kind of sucks.
Okay.
But you should be able to do it.
Right on, man.
Good to see
you. All right, you too, brother.
Take care.
Take care.
Keep making that good content, huh?
Thanks, bro. So the other feature that Katie absolutely adores on this truck is this feature right here. Now the sunroof, which actually is a panoramic sunroof, which is awesome because we found actually with, as you can see, the baby seat in the back, when we drive around where it's not, you know, sunny high up at noon, where we're driving into like forest roads and stuff like that and there are trees around, Chloe actually from her seat looks up and kind of looks out the window up above on that panoramic moonroof. It turns out that we all pretty much enjoy it the same. And definitely something I can't complain about. And I know this is a feature that's becoming more prominent with a lot of vehicles coming out. And I believe also the F-150 Tremor and some of the other F-150 packages will start having these as well. As you can see right now, I'm currently driving on a forest road. And if I were to compare stock rides of the Tundra TRD off-road with this Ram Rebel, I'd say it's about the same. Although this one does feel a little softer, and I think it might be the closed suspension in the rear, whereas the Tundra had the leaf spring suspension in the rear. But if you are to compare anything to the Ram Rebel, it should be the TRD Pro with its Fox springs, which compared to this would be a little bit more better. Let me just park this vehicle in the shade. So let's go out and let me talk to you about some of the things I like about the exterior of this vehicle, as well as some of my concerns. Oh, what happened to the black truck, you ask? Well, as you can see, I already made one of my first few modifications as soon as I brought it in, and it's wrapping the truck. It is the rugged vinyl line from Avery Dennison. Now this wrap is supposed to be able to withstand pinstriping a little bit better. So I decided, because it is a black truck and I am wanting to go to the trails as soon as possible, I wanted to make sure pinstriping issues were dealt with up front as a preventative measure. As you may already know, on a black vehicle, if you get pinstriping, it's going to be more prominent and it's not going to look that good. Although it shouldn't really matter, and I don't really care because I had that on my Tundra. I figured since I have another chance at a new vehicle with the pinstriping issue, I might as well just take that preventative measure. Also, I did put the in-channel vent visors on the windows because in the Pacific Northwest where I live, it does rain a lot out here, and there are times where you just want to get some fresh air and you can't really crack the window unless you have one of those added on there. Rebel package is supposed to be the more off-road worthy package of the Ram 1500 line. What I like about the Ram Rebel package is the fact that it does come with 18-inch wheels and 275/70/18 tires from the Goodyear DuraTrack line. Now I had the DuraTrack on my Toyota Tacoma and it performed well. It did well in the snow, in my opinion, in the rain, on the street, and wasn't too loud. So I think this is a great choice from Ram to go with this tire as a package for the Ram Rebel. Now, as you guys may know, if you have the Toyota Tundra, whether it's the TRD Off-Road or even the TRD Pro, the tires that they put on there are less than desirable. Now, on the front of the Rebel, the design, to me, I really like it. I love the grille. I love, this is the night package, so they black out everything. They black out the badges, they black out the skid plate, they do black out the badges in the rear, as well as even the wheels. If we're gonna talk about the hood on the Ram Rebel, a lot of it is for aesthetics. Like the vents over there, they do not have any functional vents. It is just for looks, but I do like the way it looks. It does add to the aggressive nature of it, but if we were gonna talk about what kind of functionality that has, it doesn't have any except to just look good on the package. And I believe that a lot of people will choose to get the road package for those vents. The other thing I like are the tow hooks in the front, as well as the skid plates, which is full metal, but this is where I talk about one of my concerns on this truck. Whereas underneath, the skid plate on it is not a complete skid plate that goes all the way to the front differential. It actually stops, then there's a gap between right under the bumper to the differential. So the skid plates that I have experience with, they go all the way back from the front bumper to the differential, but this one doesn't. I may do a mod on that to just have a continuous skid plate. And as mentioned earlier, I do like the technological upgrades that they've done on this truck, which you do find in other trucks, but I did not have it in the Toyota Tundra and I didn't realize what I was missing out on. For example, the side view mirrors, they do fold in automatically. It might not seem like a big deal, it might seem just like a little parlor trick, But the great thing about that is if I am going on a tight trail where I am gonna get pinstriping, I can allow the mirrors to be folded in. And yes, going forward, maybe it might not matter if it's folded out or in, but when you go backwards, sometimes you back out of a trail, you don't want the branches or whatever it is to get caught up. The mirror is essentially just hooking onto those things going backwards. So when you're able to fold it in, kind of decreases the amount of width you have in terms of the footprint you have from your truck. Now, this is not a comprehensive review of the truck. I plan to wait on doing something like that, maybe after 6 months to a year of use, just so I can report back on findings based on experience rather than just first impressions. Because I believe that's what matters more in an overland rig, because usually people have rigs for a long period of time and they want to know how it performs over time. And the reason I bring that up is because when I did reveal that I got the Ram Rebel, people did talk about how the reliability might be an issue and it's not going to add up to or compare to the Tundra. Well, that may be true and that may not be true. And that is my other concern with this truck, is the fact that the reliability could be, right? I mean, it got Consumer Reports rated #1 over Toyota Tundra, which got rated #2, and reliability is a factor they consider in those ratings. But it is a possibility that, you know, reliability, something might happen. You know, there have been, when I did look up and research this truck, people did talk about electrical issues being the major thing. As far as the engine goes, the 5.7 liter V8 Hemi has been a tried and true and proven engine. I have no worries about that. It's just because of so many electronics that are involved as components in this truck, failure is possible. And if that happens, I am definitely going to report, but I do want to experience it on trails to see how that does. So with all of that stuff out of the way, let's get to the real fun part. I'm going to talk to you about some of the mods I have planned. Of course, you already saw 2 of the mods I've already done. I got boxes back at home waiting to be installed that I didn't install yet, just so that I could do this for you guys. And then I'll do a separate video on that, as well as taking it out, finally camping it on trails, which I've been wanting to do forever now. So let me show you what I got inside of the truck so far. Now on the interior of the truck, I do have some gear that I need to carry as far as immediate gear, emergency medical stuff, roadside assistance. So those things I have them compartmentalized and organized into these caddies, and I got them from Last US Bags. They're great. There's one that's a half size, which I put behind my seat, and there's the full size one which I put behind Katie's seat. So that was also one of the first interior things that I did to update this truck. Also, as you know, because I have a baby, or we have a baby, I did install a car seat in the back middle portion of the truck. Some people, I don't think there's really a wrong way to install those. Some people prefer to put it behind the passenger, behind the driver, or in the middle. The reason why I put it in the middle was because it's just my overprotective nature. If we do have a side impact crash, I want Chloe to be somewhat as far from the side of the impact as possible, and to reduce the probability of either side, I believe it is just to put it in the middle, as well as us being able to see her better through the rear view mirror and being able to reach out to her, whether it's myself or Katie that need to do while we're driving. We could just turn around and, you know, do whatever. Of course, I would do when I'm stopped. So there's a lot of little other features that I would like to talk about on this truck, but I think I'm gonna do that over time as I'm going out and camping and things like that. There's a lot of cool little things on this truck. So I will reveal those and talk about those as we go over time. It's not really super important stuff, but things I think is cool to like little point out as a little quirk and a feature. So now let's talk about what I have planned for mods on this truck. Now on the rear side of the truck, I did leave the tailgate predominantly black, except maybe the badges I used the same kind of wrap for the side and the front of the truck. The reason I left it black is because I am planning to put like a camper canopy or camper shell or a bed shell, whatever you want to call it, on the back of the truck, and I wanted to kind of be uniform and aligned because it is going to be black. Now, as far as bed space organization goes, I am still kind of weighing out different possibilities. I did have the deck drawer system on the Tundra, and I think that might be good for the Rebel, but I also want to carry other things in the bed, potentially like an e-bike or something like that. And with the deck system, it was hard for me to do that because it just made the truck bed depth more shallow. So that is something I'm still toying around with. Now, some of the more immediate mods will be side steps, and I'm going to talk to you about that, and I will show you what those are. That is waiting for me at home. I am going to update the lighting, and as you know, in my previous video, I talk about the trigger system that I'm going to take with me, which I'm going to install on the Ram as well. And I do have the bigger 360 series rigid lights. They're 6-inch ones that I do want to put in front of the bumper. So I did get something for that as well. I really like acoustics, right? I like how things please the senses. And aside from music, the other thing is the exhaust. So I did research some exhaust, and there is one that I found that I am so excited to install that is currently in the shipment and freight right now on the way. And I am going to install that as well, just because I like the way, and I want to hear this 5.7 liter Hemi V8 roar, and with it muffled from the factory, I would like to let it out. As far as the suspension goes on the Ram Rebel, it does have a 1-inch higher lift compared to the other 1500 series. For me, the only real reason why I had a lift was to fit bigger tires, as well as to be able to have higher clearance in snow. Since right now we're just starting summer and I don't need to really worry about that. I am planning to get a lift kit, but that is not high priority on the list. Also, because these tires that came with the Rebel are the Duratrax and I love these tires, I'm just gonna leave them on and just ride them till they go bald and just enjoy them, you know, and as well as the wheels too. I do like the wheels, and I am gonna just continue with them. But that is my new Overland rig, the 2021 Ram Rebel. I hope you will continue to join me and follow along on my adventures as I go out and push this truck to the limits. And if there are any issues, of course, I will report back and share those experiences with you guys, as well as the fun, good times I'll have in this truck. So far, the name is still going to be Shadow 2.0 until another name just naturally forms for this truck. But with that said, I want to thank you guys for joining me on another video. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe now, because there's a lot more weekly content coming. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down below. It's been harder for me to get back to all the questions right now. It's just been overwhelming these days, and I want to thank you guys for being so involved and engaged in my content. But I do try to answer questions as much as I can. But anyways, it's been fun, it's been good. I'm looking forward to sharing the adventures on this truck with you guys. I'm looking forward to sharing the build out with y'all, and I'm looking forward to hopefully hundreds of thousands of more miles with the Ram Rebel. Be safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.